Hello everyone, welcome back to another reaction video, and today we're getting our thinking caps on a little bit. We're watching Arthur TV, Arthur Frederick, whatever you want to call him, expose flat earthers basically. Find the flat earther embarrassingly exposes flat earth stupidity. Very intriguing concept. I am not a flat earther. I would assume you guys are not as well. But we're gonna delve into the science behind it, knowing this guy, I guess. So a bit of a different video today, but I'm looking forward to it. We go.
Right, so the Venn diagram of conspiracy theory prone people who struggle with basic science and flat earthers is,
virtually
unlike our
the same.
planet, a flat circle. It's an outdated and scientifically disproven idea, and because none of their models can accurately predict and explain the observations that we make in reality, concepts of what the flat earth actually looks like come in all shapes and sizes, and so too do the people who believe in them. That makes—
Oh god, I'm so excited for this video. This is going to be fun, isn't it? This is going to be really, really, really fun. The main flat earth theory that I know of is that we have like an ice wall around us, right? And the government know about this ice wall and they prevent us from going to this ice wall and all this kind of stuff. And if you manage to escape the ice wall because it's flat, you just fall off the side of the earth, right? Which I don't understand how people believe this to exist. It's so bizarre. But fun. We're going to find out more about it, I guess, because no doubt that is going to come up in this video.
Today's challenge a little bit harder, because in this video, we're going to try and find the flat earther among 6 globe earthers. In other words, 6 normal sane people. I didn't even
so let's properly think about this.
I believe the earth is...
I thought they would all be flat earthers. And we had... Oh, that would be more fun. I want to find the globe earther in the flat earth people. That would be way more fun.
I believe the earth is round.
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 One of them is secretly a flat earther. So
I'm going with blue shirt right now.
Let's find out which one it is.
So just as a
Oh no, there's 2 blue shirts. I'm going with this guy right now. Just off looks alone. I know that doesn't warrant it, but just off looks alone, I'm going with this guy. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. He just looks like he'd be a flat earther.
you know? Who here believes the earth is flat?
The contestant did not know the episode topic prior to filming. Okay.
Raise your hands right now.
Unironically, there are a lot of flat earthers that are genuinely stupid enough to put their hand up there. This could have been the shortest video ever.
Any of you guys take flights?
I think we've all taken a flight.
I would have to assume everyone at some point in their life.
Can we, Is it a thing? Do you guys hear about flat earth out there? I mean,
I've heard like some things. I never believed
I've never
existed,
met
to be honest. I was like, there's
someone.
no way you think.
Also, there is going to be a lot of pausing during this. I feel like this is much more of a commentary style video, right? So this video is 39 minutes. It could go up to an hour. Fuck knows. I've never personally met a flat earther. I just don't believe that my circles would involve people that believe that kind of conspiracy. But it would be so intriguing to have a conversation with someone who actually is a flat earther.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met a flat earther in person before. Or maybe I have, but they just didn't say they're a flat earther.
I mean, yeah,
it's
maybe.
pretty rare, but I do feel like there's been a bit of a resurgence in flat earth conspiracies on the internet over the last few years. So
I genuinely
there are more flat
believe...
earthers than people think.
I feel like...
I genuinely believe it's just people that are bored and want something to do with their lives. I genuinely cannot think of any other way around it. Because how do you get to a point of believing that it's flat? I genuinely don't understand.
I've only seen it on like TV or like movies. Like I've never perceived someone in real life being a flat earther.
I was very surprised just to find out somebody in here was a flat earther in the first place.
Honestly, I thought that the flat earther would be someone that like didn't go to college. So
that's what I was also gonna say.
I don't think it matters, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like a good way to weed out the flat earther from the beginning would be to just bombard them with insults and see who doesn't laugh. And already from there, both of these guys were laughing in agreement, and he didn't really laugh. And she laughed harder than him, so already him and the orange shirt guy are a little bit suspicious. Not that there's anything wrong with not having a college education, being single, or living with your parents in today's economy, but I feel like the ham-fisted implication was that flat earthers are dumb losers, and it was interesting to see their reactions.
So like my image of flat earther is like just a generic white guy.
I kind of
I'm a
agree.
big science fan, and one of
I
my
do
favorite
kind of
forms
agree.
entertainment is watching science communicators just absolutely tearing pseudoscience to shreds. And so I've seen a lot of flat Earth debunking videos, and a lot of the flat Earth content creators that I've seen at least are white guys. Obviously, the plural of anecdote isn't data, but I have the same stereotype in my mind.
I do as well.
picture
Big
somebody
time.
who's a little bit lanky, who wears
I feel like
t-shirts.
so she thinks someone that's dressed and tall is a flat earther.
That's so rogue. I mean, no one's getting voted off on her criteria, but on his. There are 2 white guys here. I wonder if that's making him already suspicious.
That's so
Should we maybe
funny.
start by doing like what does everyone do or what does everyone study or something like that?
I went to UC Berkeley and studied biology, but now I'm a Twitch streamer.
Yeah,
I have a
come
bachelor's
on.
and master's in mechanical engineering.
Okay, so first 2 have science education to a pretty reasonable degree. One of the key things about studying science at university level is that it's not like A-levels and GCSEs or equivalents like that, where you're mainly getting tested on your ability to remember and recall scientific information. At university, you actually do a lot of the experiments yourself.
Yeah,
and
it's
you're
coming
also
up with
taught
it
to
yourself,
critically
right?
analyze the scientific literature. And so although they don't study physics or cosmology or astrophysics, you'd think that they would have the skills to critically analyze globe Earth and flat Earth claims and come to the very obvious conclusion that the Earth is a globe. Not that you need a science degree to know that the Earth isn't flat.
Oh,
but
this
I'd be
is so
quite surprised
fun.
if it was one of those 2 given their background.
I study sociology.
The issue though is they could obviously just lie, realistically, right? So whilst I agree with him on the basis of if everyone is telling 100% the truth, but obviously they're not. It could still be one of those 2, and they could just be lying out their teeth right now, you know?
And kinesiology.
I feel like with that kind of
For an
stuff, you have to
electronics
take with a pinch of
company,
salt in
we,
this sense.
We develop products mostly that is used with the Air Force and government.
Okay, her background is a little bit less scientific, so I wouldn't be as surprised if she was a flat earther. But George, working with electronics to do with aviation, that makes me think that it's unlikely that he'd be a flat earther.
yeah, if
Like,
he's,
the Air
again,
Force
telling
are
the
gonna
truth,
rely
he
on a lot
can't
of
be him.
instruments that need to factor in the curvature of the Earth
Yeah.
to properly function. So I don't know if he'd be able to do his job under the assumption that the Earth was flat. And obviously
again,
he works with the
he
government.
could just be lying.
And a lot of flat earthers have a lot of distrust in the government because they think that they're also behind the conspiracy. So I'd be surprised if he was working with the government whilst also thinking that they're hiding the fact that the Earth is flat.
Got my bachelor's in psychology, and then I'm currently at UCLA getting my PhD in neuroscience.
Okay, PhD in
Damn,
neuroscience, that's
okay.
also quite a strong scientific
Jesus.
background.
I'm currently getting my BS in microbiology and I'm pre-med.
I
Same with
have had
her.
a few careers. I was a high school English teacher. I was a software engineer, and now I'm a restaurateur.
Bro, it's him.
Okay, based just on their background
It's
so far,
him.
I'm just a little bit suspicious
It's
of
him.
these 2. But not making any too harsh judgments. We've only just found out a small amount of information.
So, like, what evidence is there that the Earth is flat or, I
Well,
guess, round?
Like, why are you a round earther?
Yeah. Why are you a round earther?
There's a lot of things regarding like whether the Earth is round, you know? Like obviously people have traveled around the world, and if the Earth was flat, somebody would have fallen off.
Okay, having spent a lot of time listening to flat earthers justify their claims, I do want to steelman their position as much as possible. And I will say that most flat earthers don't necessarily think that there's an edge to the flat earth. So this is quite a common rough approximation of what
This
a
is
flat
the
earth
ice
would look
wall,
like.
right?
Like I said, there's not one flat earth model because none of them work to explain everything we observe in reality. But to just use this as an example, most flat earthers think that Antarctica, this ice wall, is basically
There we go,
impenetrable. They
yeah.
think that if you sail to the edge, you'd hit this ice wall and the government wouldn't allow you to go any further. So rather than falling off the edge, you just come in contact with this ice wall. And there isn't really a universally agreed upon idea of what's beyond the ice wall. It's rare that flat earthers think that there's an edge that you can kind of fall off. I think a lot of them think that there's a lot of land and resources that are being hidden from us by the government. And a lot of them think we just come into contact with the dome or the firmament that's above this flat earth. But I'm sure we'll come on to that in a little bit. And obviously,
Oh,
things
it's
you talk
so
about
funny,
people
man.
traveling around the world, like circumnavigation. Let's say they're in
I don't necessarily like laughing at other people's theories and mindsets and all this kind of stuff, but I genuinely feel like flat Earth is probably the one exception. It's just so, how do I say this nicely? It's so stupid. Like, it actually is just so fucking stupid that I can't help but laugh at like the thought process behind it. It's yeah. I don't like laughing at this kind of thing because sure, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Some things are less opinion based than other things, sure. But it's just It's something else, isn't
North
it?
America, circumnavigation would take them around like this or like this, so they actually wouldn't hit the edge of the flat Earth anyway.
Like, secondly, also, every single planet is round. So why would every planet plus the stars be round, but Earth is flat? Just
Yeah, this is when you
Yeah, but they
hear a
believe
lot as
that's
well.
like a
And
simulation
lot
and
of
all
flat
that kind of
earthers
shit,
basically
right?
respond to this by saying, oh, if you're on a pool table and you look at all the balls being round, that doesn't necessarily mean that the table is round. Obviously, we know that gravity pulls everything to the center of an object. So if you have a planet that's big enough, bigger than what's called the potato radius, which is about 600 kilometers
never heard
in
of that.
diameter, the gravity of all that matter is strong enough to pull itself into a sphere. But unfortunately, flat earthers also don't believe in gravity. And in fact, a lot of them
Yeah,
don't
this
even
is the
believe in
mental
space.
thing.
Like, they reject the idea that when you're looking at Jupiter or Saturn or Mars or whatever through a telescope, that you're even seeing a planet at all. A lot of them think that it's just lights in the
Yeah.
dome or the firmament or whatever's above us. Again, obviously we know that gravity
It's kind of, they kind of base it off it being like a sort of in the sense of a skylight. So, or the things you have in the room, where in your bedroom that puts stars on the wall and that kind of shit, right? They're effectively saying it's a massive version of that. Again, I don't like laughing at it, but come on, man.
in space exists, but flat earthers just deny it.
also, third, when you look at
Just
it
to
on the horizon,
fully
you can only see about
outright
12 miles
deny
out.
it is
If the
mental.
Earth was flat, you could see out forever, hypothetically.
Yeah, that's definitely the strongest of her three arguments. Like, when you watch a ship sail into the horizon, it
And you
disappears
lose track
bottom
of it,
first.
yes.
And if you're looking out across a great body of water, you often can't see the bottom of buildings, of city skylines, of mountains, because they're obstructed by the horizon because that water is curving. It just reminds me of that classic scene from Behind the Curve, which is this like flat earth documentary. And you should check it out if you haven't already seen it, but they essentially get two lasers either side
Yeah,
of the
this
lake.
is
And
so
they say,
interesting.
if water finds its level and the earth is flat, the laser will end up on the board about here. But if the earth is curved, the laser will end up shining about here. And the light ends up shining, as predicted, up here. I mean, predictably, cognitive dissonance did kick in and they rejected the findings of the experiment. But yeah, things disappearing behind the curve is a pretty conclusive.
Reject the findings. Just, nah, it didn't happen. Didn't happen. It's wrong. It's wrong. Don't worry about it. Faulty experiment.
one.
So the Earth is round, in my opinion.
Damn, that was a lot of points.
Watch a lot
Actually,
of documentaries.
it's a little suspicious over there.
Wait,
know a little too
I think
much.
I argued my point pretty well.
You know
I don't
too
know,
much.
overcompensating.
Right?
That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, obviously, like if you're a flat earther, you got to know the talking points for the router.
That is true. Like, a lot of the flat earthers do know quite a lot of science and quite a lot of details about the globe earth model. I mean, obviously there are some fundamental misunderstandings and ignorance in there too that means that they're a flat earther. But a lot of flat earthers who have this as a big part of their life do know a lot of the talking points and do know a lot of both sides' arguments. So I'm not surprised that they find her a little bit suspicious for that.
If I were to add anything,
I guess that's true, to be fair, because if you are a flat earther, I guess you're going to be questioned about it and berated about it so much that you're naturally just going to have more knowledge on it being a globe than potentially a globe earther would have the knowledge of flat earth theory. Because I feel like if you go and speak to most people out there, they won't really know what the theories are behind people being flat earthers. But if you spoke to a flat earther person, I feel like, as again, naturally, they'll just have a knowledge of what people believe as a globe earther. So it kind of makes sense.
I would just say, like, I mean, we also have like photographic evidence.
Yeah, photographic evidence is another pretty big one. I mean, there are
Yeah.
some photos of Earth that are composite images. So they are like lots of different images of the surface of Earth composited to form a globe. But we do have full images of the Earth from outer space. But the flat earthers just turn around and say it's photoshopped or it's CGI. We do have this though. So this is really cool.
So
this is
good.
called the Himawari 8. And it's a geostationary satellite above Japan. And this live updates these
Oh,
photos from
shit.
space every 10 minutes. How cool is that? Flat earthers must generally think
Wow.
that there are some people scrambling to every 10
Every
minutes
10 minutes.
upload a new Photoshop CGI'd photo of
That's
Earth
so
that has
interesting.
an
I didn't
accurate
know about
depiction
this.
of the sun and the clouds and the weather patterns. But yeah, go check it out. It's really cool.
I feel like trying to come up with arguments for a flat Earth just to spice up the conversation. I mean, they could fisheye the photos. They could.
They Photoshop.
That is suspicious. If you're a flat earther and you're sitting there listening to all this, you are going to be itching to give your rebuttals. I'm surprised that he went
I
with
guess
fisheye rather than
so,
Photoshop,
yeah.
but he really leapt to the flat earth defense there. And that guy, that was a funny look. Was he kind of going, yeah, that's suspicious? Like, why are you defending them? Or is he also sitting there going like, yeah, you are literally right. Like, I kind of want to say, Yes, it's Photoshop, it's CGI or something like that. Given I was already a little bit suspicious of him because of the background, that look was a little bit suspicious.
Blue shirt,
And just
blue.
the
It's
fact that he
definitely
left a
him,
flat
bro.
Earth defense, I'm now thinking this guy's suspicious too.
You know, they could be photoshopped.
I just think it's
There you
funny
go.
that this is a thing. I was a software engineer. We did geomapping. Okay, so we had to map distances between addresses. And there's a thing called spherical geometry.
Yeah, that's very accurate. I mean, it would be really difficult, again, to do what he does, not taking into account the fact that the Earth is a globe. Like, you cannot accurately map the surface of a sphere onto a flat plane. You just can't do it. That's why there are so many different types of maps that are all accurate in some sense, but at the expense of being
inaccurate
accurate in
the
other
others, yeah.
senses. Like the Mercator projection, that is the classic map of the Earth. And it's really useful for navigation because it preserves angles and directions, but it's massively at the expense of showing accurate sizes of regions.
Yeah.
So regions that are far from the equator are just massively exaggerated. They just look way bigger on a Mercator projection than they are in real life.
Yeah, so I believe this is exactly what I was going to talk about. I believe that Russia is like potentially half the size of is actually shown on a standard map, and it was all based on naval passages and all that kind of stuff. So when the mode of transport from getting from country to country was based on ships and sailing from country to country, this was the best way of visualizing the map for that use, basically. But if you actually look at it properly, some countries are so much smaller and some are so much bigger than they actually are.
This is another
It's
cool
so
website.
interesting.
It's called thetruesize.com. And this is the Mercator projection. So this is what you're kind of used to seeing with most maps. But if I take the United Kingdom up here and drag it down to the equator, look at how much
It gets
smaller
so
it
much
gets.
smaller, yeah.
And like I said, the further from the equator you get, the worse it gets. This is Greenland, and look at the size of it. It looks about the same size as the continent of Africa. But if we drag it down to the equator,
It's so interesting.
it's about the same size as the DRC. And so that's why we have the Gould-Peters projection, which is this. This preserves the relative size of land masses, but it's absolutely useless for navigation.
I've not seen
And you
this.
can see the countries nearer the equator look stretched quite vertically, and then the ones nearer the poles just look really squashed. So if
But even that won't be right because it's not. I don't think it's been shrunk. I think the width of countries is still going to be incredibly wrong. It's probably just a grid science, basically a grid basis. That's probably more like the area of the land, I guess, that is true to size.
stretched quite vertically, and then the ones nearer the poles just look really squashed. So if this Ryan guy is doing geomapping, he just must take into account the curvature of the Earth when doing that.
Actually, the ancient Greeks figured that out. There were enough of them that walked from one town to another. They're like, this is not exactly where we think it should be. And they were clever enough that into the thousands of years BC, they knew that the Earth was round.
Yeah, over 2,000 years ago, Eratosthenes figured out the diameter of the Earth with a margin of error of less than 2%. He literally had two sticks in
Jesus.
two different cities, measured the angles of the shadow cast by them, and used those angles and the distance between the two cities to calculate the circumference of the Earth. That is so cool and so
Wow,
impressive.
that's well- I didn't
Annoyingly,
know
though,
that.
You get the same results with a curved Earth.
That's so
and
interesting.
parallel rays from the sun as you would from a flat Earth with a local sun that's a lot closer and a lot smaller, giving off rays that aren't parallel. And a lot of flat earthers unfortunately do just believe that the sun is local, just very close and a lot smaller than science would lead you to believe. So yeah, annoying. Very cool, but unfortunately not conclusive proof that the Earth is a globe.
Also, I always wonder, like, is there an edge? Like, have you guys seen, like, Pirates of the Caribbean? You know, when they fall and they go to the edge of the Earth and, you know, like, that's what I envision flat earthers believe. And then also what happens with night and day? Like, if it was flat and then the sun, like, how does that work? I don't know, I haven't done enough research on flat earthers.
Yeah, it actually is ridiculous. They also just believe, obviously, if they've got to believe that the sun is local and a lot smaller than we've measured it to be. But they think that sunset happens because the sun just goes really far away. Like, they just completely deny that it sets over the horizon.
What?
Just completely ignoring the fact that this is what a sunset actually looks like. At their peril as well, just denying such a majestic celestial event that literally we are blessed to have every single day on this earth. It's so crazy that they look at that and go, yeah, that's the sun going
That's just-
really far
it's-
away from us.
it's
Despite
vanishing.
the fact that it barely changes size in the sky throughout the entire day. And when it sets on the horizon, it looks like that. Anyway, I digress.
When you travel, I mean, you can travel both ways around, right? You can go one way or the other to get to the other side of the world.
Like I've
Yeah,
flown
but that goes back to the first image of the flat Earth that we had, that you can just go round it like that. So there are genuine arguments for like against that kind of stuff. Obviously they're all false and all stupid, but there are genuine arguments, annoyingly.
Shanghai so often, and I've also been to Europe. So like at some point I should have fallen off, right?
Yeah,
like
I mean,
one or the other.
theoretically, right? If there's an edge, you should have at least seen.
Yeah, so again, that's what we were saying before. If she's going to
There we go.
Shanghai from the US, that's literally just going from here to around here. So that's why a flat earther would say she wouldn't have fallen off the edge. And by the way, just to clarify why I'm still manning the flat earth position, maybe it's the lawyer in me, but I feel like they at least have the right to a fair and reasonable representation of what their arguments are.
No, I
Hopefully
agree.
that means that we
I
can
agree.
start using arguments that they can't answer rather than ones that they can. In the long run, I just do feel like it's better to engage with your opponent's arguments honestly, even if you don't really expect that to be reciprocated. In the end as well, I feel like actually engaging with their arguments is the only way to get them to change their mind.
Wait, are any of you guys religious?
Yeah,
agree.
I'm Hindu, so. Yeah.
I'm not religious.
I'm Catholic.
Protestant.
I don't like the term religion, but
Like a belief.
yeah, I'm a believer.
I prefer the term theist myself.
I'm an atheist, yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe in religion.
Gotcha.
That's an interesting one because a lot of the flat earthers I've seen are
very,
Christian.
like, Christian,
Now that's
yeah.
definitely not to say that all Christians are flat earthers or all flat earthers are Christian, but there are flat earthers that genuinely do believe that they have biblical justification for their position. For example, in the book of Psalm in the Bible, it says that the earth was set in its foundations and it can never be moved. And similarly, in the book of Chronicles, it says that the earth is firmly established and cannot be moved. As a result, a lot of flat earthers do look at those passages and say that that does describe a stationary Earth, which is obviously incompatible with the idea that the Earth is a globe spinning on its axis, orbiting around the sun, and hurtling through the universe. You also have the book of Isaiah describing the circle
Bro, this
of
is
Earth,
so
the book
fucking
of Job describing
interesting.
the Earth as having edges, and the book of Revelation referring to the four corners of Earth. Again, flat earthers look at those verses and say, this is describing an Earth that's flat, that has edges, that's a circle. And finally, and this is what I mentioned earlier, the book of Genesis gives an account of God saying, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. And this is why so many flat earthers believe that there's a firmament or a dome above us. And instead of space being on the other side, it's water. So I think George and Ikponmosa being Christian means that they might fall into this category of flat earther. And maybe Ryan too, depending on what he believes. And obviously it doesn't even matter if Ryan isn't Christian. Obviously a big part of a lot of theistic beliefs is that we as humans were created in the image of God, or at least created special. And so obviously it makes more sense for us to occupy a significant and central part of the universe. For example, a flat Earth with a dome above it, rather than just being on one of many planets orbiting the sun in the Milky Way galaxy in a grand universe, where relatively our position and the amount of space we take up is pretty insignificant and irrelevant. That's why you often hear flat earthers in response to the question, why have this big conspiracy about the shape of the Earth? Like, why convince people that the Earth is a globe if it's actually flat? With it's the government or the media or the institution's way of detaching us from God and making us forget that we're special or important. So yeah, anyway, just because they're religious doesn't mean that they're going to be flat earthers, but it just could be a factor.
Fucking no notes. Go off, King. What the fuck? That was hot. Holy shit. Talk more. What the fuck?
All right, vote.
I might watch that again later.
He
Fucking
is
hell.
an English teacher, and if you do literature, you must be a free thinker, and your mind must be able to push the imagination.
When he started to defend flat earthers in the beginning, I was like,
Yeah,
I do. Sorry, Arthur. I do want to hear more from George, though. I want to hear more about what he does with. He said Air Force, right? Air Force and geography and government. Sorry. I would like to hear more about like what he does, especially with the government, because yeah, that is kind of bizarre if he is a flat earther.
that was such a bad strategy. I'm not surprised that after that people think it's George.
Oh, okay. I
Damn, I got the
didn't
most
even
votes.
really watch the votes. I'll be honest.
I'm a little bit older than most of them, and I have a little bit more of a
But he would have been my vote as well.
variety of a career.
Yeah, I don't know. The way he said a few things was a little bit weird, and a lot of his like expressions and reactions to things were a little bit off. Like it was hard to tell whether he was mocking flat earthers or mocking people who mock flat earthers. But I just would be so surprised if he's involved in geomapping if he's a flat earther. If he is, I bet his team hate him.
Can I ask what like political affiliation everyone has?
Yeah, sure. I'm unaffiliated. I don't.
I don't
like politics,
really understand what this has to do with it, but sure. I don't really follow politics all that much, to be honest, especially American politics. So I don't know if it's in the US more one-sided than the other when it comes to flat Earth beliefs, but sure.
Yeah, same. I guess I would lean more towards like a liberal. I feel like I'm privileged enough to not be into politics like that.
I'm glad he acknowledged the fact that he's quite privileged to just not be involved. Like, I guess it's easy to detach from politics if it doesn't affect you, but it doesn't say great things about your character if you don't care about the plight of others just because you're not directly affected.
I mean, same. I don't want to like disagree with whatever else
That's fair.
but it's true. So.
And it's so surprising. It's quite rare, I feel, for young people to not be politically involved these days. I mean, I obviously wasn't around for previous generations, so I don't really know. But regardless of what it's like relative to other generations, it feels like these days, most people the same ages as these guys are involved in politics. It's all over.
I feel like it's been a bit of a bell curve. I think especially in the UK, from my perspective anyway, it got to a point where politics, especially during like Brexit and all this kind of stuff, where politics was like the forefront of virtually every conversation, and that's what everyone spoke about. And I think since then, in my world anyway, it's kind of just dropped off the face of the earth, kind of like flat earthers. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. It's a strange topic, and I feel like a lot of people are just done with being fucked over by the government, left, right, and center. In honestly, whatever way you spin it, I don't want to make this political because I feel like it's just not the place for it. But yeah, I think people have just got to the point where it's lose-lose realistically, no matter what, right? So yeah, I kind of disagree with Arthur there, but sure.
The social media, like, it's almost hard not to be.
Well, now I don't want to say anything because I mean, if I had to pick a team, I'm definitely conservative, but through considering things logically.
Yeah, again, I would say that a lot of flat earthers that I've seen tend to be quite right-wing conservative. So it's another category where George falls into the typical flat earther, in my personal experience at least. But again, you can be a left-wing flat earther and you can be a conservative and be aware that the earth is a sphere. So maybe they'll deep dive into that a little bit more.
I'm more of I'm a left-leaning moderate. Yeah.
I think I lean more liberal, but obviously making sure to think about things in context to reason things up.
Interesting. So George is the only person on the right of the political spectrum. That, I think, will make people more suspicious.
I'm not
Okay,
surprised about that with this group.
The defense you can make for flat earthers? I always like to look at the other opposition to make a conclusion.
That is a good question, but again,
George's already answered it,
kind
of.
Suspicious of her. I would not be surprised if people voted for her at the end of this round just because she asked that question. But it is a great question, because how would a flat earther defend flat Earth without giving themselves away?
You know, I will say this is probably gonna make you guys think that I'm the mole, but I will say that I'm not 100% sure we went to the moon, so I'm not like
oh, okay.
I'm not 100% convinced that we've gone to the moon. So I don't know, maybe if we didn't go to the moon, what else could the government?
I mean, the moon landing is probably the #1 conspiracy theory, right? That's the one that people believe. Potentially 9/11 as well. There's obviously massive conspiracy theories about that. Those are probably the two that I hear about the most. I don't think that necessarily correlates if you don't believe humankind has gone to the moon. I would probably argue, though, that most, if not all, flat earthers have that mindset as well, though. I feel like it would be hard to not have that mindset if you are a flat earther, right?
Be lying to us and NASA be lying to us about.
Yeah, that is an absolutely crazy thing to just volunteer. Again, strategically, that just cannot be the play, can it? Like, obviously most, if not all, flat earthers are going to be complete moon landing deniers.
Yeah.
I mean, most of them don't even think space exists. They don't think space is a real thing. And obviously they're skeptical of the government and space agencies. So this, I think, is going to make people so suspicious of him. But then again, moon landing denial is way more common than globe earth denial. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of the other globe earthers also was a moon landing denier and backed him up here.
What's your reasoning behind that, though?
I mean, like a lot, I guess. A lot of things just seem suspicious to me. When I first heard, I was like, oh, cool that we went to the moon. But then I'm like, well, we went to the moon with very little tech, like detect that like during the Cold War, and then also just like the flag was waving, which I mean I guess really doesn't make any sense considering there's no wind in space.
This is just so classic. This is exactly what happens with most conspiracy theories. Like, he will have come across a TikTok of someone going, oh look, the flag was waving but there's no wind in space, this doesn't make sense, therefore it's fake. And he will have gone, good point, I can't really think of why the flag would be waving without wind, I'm now skeptical. But obviously, as is almost always the case, there is an explanation for this.
Yeah.
I mean, firstly, the flag had a horizontal bar at the top of it to hold it out flat. Obviously, NASA engineers are going to anticipate the lack of wind and be like, we need to keep this flag flying. So they put a horizontal bar in it. And then when the astronauts put it in the ground, there was kinetic energy there. That flag was moving. It's Newton's first law of motion. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion.
Oh, I love
wind
this
or
video.
air resistance to stop it moving, the flag is just going to keep waving. And like I said, this is just the exact same thing with so many conspiracy theories. You hear someone pose a question and you're like, yeah, on the face of it, this doesn't make sense to me. I can't really figure this out, so maybe it is a conspiracy. But most of these questions have clear and logical and reasonable answers. You just
I think the one argument for the moon landing that sticks to me the most is the fact that the Russian space agency were keeping track of the moon landing when it happened in 1969. And not a chance would Russia allow the US to claim that they've won the space race if they didn't win it. There's absolutely no shot that would have happened. Not in a million billion years. I genuinely think obviously there's so many more arguments behind it, and there are many arguments against it. Obviously there's a lot of arguments for it as well. I don't see how it couldn't have happened. I just think 9 out of 10 arguments that I've seen against the moon landing have a genuine and fairly comprehensible reason to disprove that argument. So I don't know.
need to be willing and able
I just
to
think
look
it's
up
a
the
bit
answers and understand them.
Yeah,
I mean, in this case,
yeah.
I don't massively blame him. Like, unless he makes moon landing denial a massive part of his personality, you can't expect everyone to look up the answer to every question they have unanswered. But I can almost guarantee that the flat earther among them will have these kinds of questions. And whether it's due to misunderstanding or ignorance, it's going to lead them to believe that the whole thing is a conspiracy. So yeah, I don't think this is a massive red flag, but this is exactly the kind of thinking that does lead you to becoming a flat earther.
I think TikTok is massively detrimental. Is that the word? In terms of this kind of argument, because it's so easy to consume this information. It's very easy to make the content and just misinterpret what is going on and spread misinformation. Obviously, it's so easy to then divulge into that and go, yeah, that sounds right, and then leave it at that, and that is your opinion from now on. It's not great.
It's cool to question things. That's really important in science, but you have to be willing to look up the answer.
And then like also there were shadows, which also doesn't really make sense because the Earth, the way it was. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So I just had a bunch of questions.
What?
Interesting.
But like you, I also agree that we wanted to win certain aspects of the Cold War one way or another.
Yeah, I was
So
gonna say.
Yeah, George really isn't doing himself any favors by just backing up that conspiracy theory. He's kind of, albeit jokingly, defended flat Earth, and now he's kind of defending the idea that the moon landing was a hoax, which is exactly what a flat earther would do.
Were any of you guys like, I mean, I did vote Ryan out, so was there anyone else that was like suspicious to anyone?
Voted what?
I will
Oh,
say
Ryan.
I voted for Georgia. I apologize.
I
but
also did, yeah.
But just because you started off defending them a little bit, so I was like,
Yeah.
you know.
I think
And
it's
then-
maybe like scientific curiosity.
I mean,
trying to
listen,
figure it out.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, you're conservative, and a lot of listen. I mean, a lot of right-wing individuals believe some pretty insane things.
Yeah, interesting that he's brought that up. I was wondering if they were going to come back to the whole political thing. I mean, obviously among some American conservatives, you do see biblical literalism, and so that can lead to flat earth beliefs like we spoke about earlier. And also, there are no small number of right-wing groups and movements that do encourage distrust in the government, which flat earthers obviously think is largely behind the conspiracy, as well as skepticism and distrust of institutions like media, academia, science, and obviously the academic American scientific consensus is that the Earth is a sphere. And obviously in media, the Earth is constantly portrayed as a sphere. It's in movies, it's in TV shows, it's in space documentaries, it's on the news. So you've got the government and the institutions claiming that the Earth is a sphere. And you've got some right-wing groups and movements and influential people saying that we should distrust the government and these institutions, leading some right-wing people to reject the claim that the Earth is a sphere. So yeah, I think that potential causal relationship might mean that some of them might be more suspicious of George.
Far right can be pretty crazy thinkers, so I'm not sure where on the political spectrum you are, but you say conservative and I get a little, I guess, a tid queasy, just a bit worried.
I'm interested, like, how
Jesus
come
Christ.
you, I mean, I get that you were trying to, like, see
He is
from
just
the
being
other
singled out
perspective,
now, right?
But, like, what compelled you to, like, defend flat earthers?
Yeah, I don't know how much of a science enjoyer George claims to be, but seeing other perspectives is quite a scientific way of thinking. So, like, he could be a flat earther defending his cause, or he also could just be a scientifically curious person.
So, from a scientific aspect, I think everything needs to be considered. What would you say if some dude showed up and said, you know what? Instead of, like, things being normal like they are, space bends and time is flexible. What do you think of that? 100 years ago, I'm surprised anyone took up the idea at all. But that's kind of considered the norm.
He's right.
For today. I might not be a flat earther, but I believe that space is flat. I don't think that time bends and space warps, but I think there's things that make it look like that. I just got myself voted off the show, didn't I?
Yeah, that is an
I've
interesting
never
approach.
really
he's right.
heard
If someone
that.
shows up and just says something, you shouldn't just take their word for it. The whole
Yeah.
point of being a reasonable and scientific and logical person is demanding evidence for claims. It's why papers are published in peer-reviewed journals. You don't get to just turn around and go, oh, you know, the Earth is round. You have to say, hey, here's my method, here are my observations, here are the results, here are my conclusions. Einstein didn't just turn around one day and just say, oh, by the way, space-time is a thing and it curves and it bends, and everyone went, okay, you're really smart, fair enough. He proposed general relativity and then said, here's a prediction, and if I'm right, you'll be able to test it and verify it. And obviously when he proposed it, people in the scientific community were rightly skeptical, as scientists should be. But when you propose something in science and it has explanatory and predictive power, it becomes really powerful. That idea therefore has merit. So Einstein makes this bold prediction. He says, if space-time bends, you will literally see light curving around massive objects. And so a few years later, there was a solar eclipse. And as Einstein predicted, light bent around the sun. Scientists were able to observe stars near the sun during the solar eclipse. And their positions shifted because the light was bending around the sun.
I didn't know about
And so
this.
nowadays, scientists don't just accept that space-time is a thing and it curves and bends and warps because Einstein said it did. There's a massive amount of evidence that goes with that claim to back it up. Like, okay, there was the solar eclipse, but we've also detected gravitational waves. We can see gravitational lensing when we look out into space. We have experiments to prove time dilation is a thing. So he's right. Someone just turning up and saying that this crazy thing is true isn't enough. But as evidence mounts, it becomes more reasonable to accept these theories. And so yeah, given we have so much evidence of space-time curvature, it does make me so suspicious of George. I mean, I'm not an expert. Like, I like science. I spend a lot of my time reading scientific books, news articles, journals. I watch a lot of scientific YouTubers, TikTok creators. I have some knowledge of some fundamental concepts, but I know enough to know that I know nothing. And it means that George could either
I
be an
love
absolute
that.
idiot.
I fucking love that sentence. I know enough to know that I know nothing. That's a fucking bar.
And he could be a flat earther and he's just sitting here going like, I know this is what all the scientists think, but just because the scientists say it, don't believe it. And doing the classic rejecting authority, rejecting academia, rejecting science. Or he could be a very well-regarded physicist at the front of his field, challenging Einstein's general theory of relativity. And it is the case that a lot of the flat earthers do oftentimes know what they're talking about to a pretty respectable depth. I mean, obviously George has limited time here. Like, he can't go into why he doesn't think that space-time curvature is a thing. But on the face of it, him rejecting what is considered agreed upon science just is going to raise suspicions, because a lot of them won't see much difference between him saying, most scientists think that space-time curves, but I don't believe it, and someone saying, most scientists say that the Earth is round, but I don't believe it. So he could be a really impressive, really clever bloke, or he could be the flat earther. But I think as far as the game is concerned, this is probably the final nail in the coffin for him.
Well,
I think that famous scientists in the past, like Albert Einstein, he had to think freely about how to rationalize things that couldn't be answered at the time. So he answered questions that no one could answer.
He seems to know a lot, and a lot of flat earthers do a lot of research so that they can fight and argue their belief.
Do you not believe that gravity bends space and time? as it's like black hole theories?
I have an entire whole hypothesis on that. I've written a bunch of stuff personally and
I want to
whatnot.
hear it.
And
Please talk about it.
Wow, yeah, I'd actually love to hear him speak about that.
Oh, but he's out of time. See, it's so different. Like, is he writing a blog on like flatearthjournal.blog.org or something? Or is he writing articles in like respectable peer-reviewed journals? Yeah, the fact that he has his own ideas that go against the scientific consensus, that's got to be
He's voted out
surely.
1,000,000%, but
Do
it's
you know
incredibly
who Mo is?
interesting.
Comment down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to steal that call to action. I'm so on the fence about George here. So I'm really curious if some of you are sitting at home being like, obviously he's a flat earther, or obviously he's just a clever science guy. Or if you massively suspect someone else, let me know. And also, if you're enjoying the video, please do feel free to subscribe. It's free. It only takes a second. I'd really appreciate it. And it means the next time I do a video like this, you get it delivered straight to your homepage as soon as it's out. Thank you. It's much appreciated. Now let's get back to the video.
Please.
He was so free thinking.
Yeah,
and
he's
so
voted out
willing
1,000,000%.
to consider all options that I thought his thinking could like transcend the round Earth, and he could arrive back to the flat Earth conclusion again.
Yeah, it's such a shame because it's a great trait. Like, question everything is both the motto of a flat earther and a scientist. What matters is, do you truly understand the subject matter? Do you understand the evidence? Do you understand the arguments? And George just hasn't had the time to be able to demonstrate whether he does or not.
Yeah, I mean, if he started to doubt whether we were on the moon or not,
Oh, okay,
I feel
sure,
like
fine.
he would have some other things to doubt.
That's valid.
I voted for Ikpamosa, mostly because I thought he was going to vote for me.
He seems like quite a sweet dude, to be fair. Like,
He does.
Very smiley, very lovely, very polite. Regardless of whether or not he's a flat earther.
That's the thing. I mean, it doesn't really matter whether they're most flat earthers, I assume, are going to be nice people, right? They're not. I mean, most people I meet, I assume, are going to be nice people. I'm never going to assume someone's an arsehole. But yeah, I don't think that necessarily matters to us.
Like him.
I would love to hear him talk, whether he is a flat earther or not. I would love to hear him talk more about what he's spoken about there, about why he thinks space is effectively flat, why light doesn't bend, all this kind of stuff. I would love to hear more about why.
Inevitable.
Well, I mean, when discussing scientific topics, you have to have a degree of open-mindedness. So kind of digging into that, I think, a little deep gave everyone the impression that I was free-thinking enough to be a flat earther and be trying to hide it.
Oh, I really don't think from the way he was speaking then that
I don't
he
think
is
it's
the
him.
flat earther. He's right. He is encompassing the right mindset of a scientist, but he has not got the mindset of a competitive gamer. If he's not the flat earther, he evidently loves science more than he loves winning.
If you want to keep playing because you think the mole could still be in the box, raise your hand.
I love, by the way, how basically we started this video being like the stereotypical flat earther is a white male. And the two people that have gone were both white men. It's so funny.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, Ikpamosa didn't raise his hand. That makes him look suspicious as well. Because if you're the mold, you want the game to end and be like, yeah, I think we've got him, guys, right? Let's finish now. And he's the only one as well. Surely that's going to make them suspicious.
That's majority. So we move on to round 3.
What are your guys' thoughts on climate change?
I think climate change is real, and it's very scary when you look at what's happening to our environment.
I think you feel it. I mean, I feel like every single year summer keeps coming around sooner and sooner, and it lasts a lot longer. It's hotter. Yeah.
I mean, we're hearing about people dying of heat waves. Like it's, I feel like it's hard to.
Is the season shifting classed as climate change? Because I agree that I think winter is now probably probably like January to March or something. Everything seems to have just shifted by a month, realistically, right? I guess maybe that is climate change, but I've never really thought of it that way. I just kind of thought of it as season shifting. I didn't really put 2 and 2 together, I guess, but
I feel like at this
maybe that
point,
makes
you're
sense.
actively like trying to not believe that global warming is a thing. I'm like, this Earth, if you believe it around the flat, is
It's going downhill.
It's scary to think about. Every time I think about having kids, I'm like, oh, good luck, guys. Not my problem. I know.
I mean, honestly, it is our problem though too.
That's true. Yeah.
That is an interesting question. I mean, again, it's another classic, like, this is what the scientific consensus is. Do you agree with the scientific consensus or do you not believe them? But if you are a flat earther here and you don't believe in anthropogenic climate change, are you going to say anything? Because
What the fuck was that word? Anthropology comes up. Hang on. I need to figure out what this means.
earther here and you don't believe in anthropogenic climate change.
Anthropogenic. Chiefly of pollution or environment change originating in human activity. Sure. I've never heard of that word before.
Are you going to say anything? Because again, being a climate change denier, just like being a moon landing denier, just makes it seem like you're going to be a globe earth denier. Because there just is going to be massive overlap, isn't there?
I believe that we have a responsibility to kind of fix it. It's not, we didn't start this problem, but we could definitely make it worse, so we shouldn't do
How
that.
old is everybody?
I'm 23.
I'm 28.
Yeah.
24.
20.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
Gen Z.
I feel bad that we voted out. I know.
I feel like as a young group, we're more educated, so I feel like it's harder to really point down, or for one of us to really believe.
Yeah, for sure.
More educated.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
true?
a
Okay, so
crazy
this is
take,
Pew
I think.
Research, which is kind of like the gold standard for data. Yeah, he's right. More recent generations have higher degrees of education. Fair enough.
shit,
It would be
fair.
interesting to see the quality of education and what a lot of these degrees actually are. But I feel like we don't need another in-depth tangent on this video.
I was just gonna say one thing. I've watched this show before, and they like to throw you off by appearance based. So in the best way possible, you look very science-y. I don't know. I don't know.
That's kind of true.
I feel like your educational background fits it too perfectly that I feel like they could easily be like.
What was your educational background again?
I did ME for both bachelor's and master's.
Wait, but he could be lying.
Sadly.
Oh.
I'm kind of suspicious of you too.
I was
But
a
it's
little
only due to
suspicious
not
of
talking as much.
you and you.
I mean, I'll share. I
I
mean,
literally
Also,
only
remember,
because of the
I don't
comment
know.
earlier of I don't know the moon landings, and I was like,
oh my God,
really?
yeah,
actually, I
Yeah,
forgot
that's the
about
only
that.
reason.
Yeah, I did think that would come back to bite him in the ass. Again, bad strategy.
So do you
no, I
think
mean,
the
I was-
Odyssey to the Titanic happened? Submarine, submersible trip thing.
Did that happen?
Yeah, do you think that happened?
I think rich white people doing dumb rich white people things is going to happen throughout history.
That's fair.
So for sure, that
That's-
definitely happened.
I'm not gonna lie though, I was a little suspicious of you. Still kind of am. I
Is
think just 'cause you said
that
you were religious.
is that a conspiracy that didn't happen? Didn't they find the vessel? I didn't know people didn't believe that happened.
religious? And I feel
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
I
that's
feel
fair.
like-
I will say, I mean, being Indian, you cannot believe in being a flat earther. You need to believe in concrete, solid proof. Both of my parents are software engineers.
Well, that was
I
a quick
cannot go
round. Holy
believing
shit.
in flat earthers.
Interesting. No way.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Damn.
Oh, they're watching.
Yeah,
I didn't realize they were
Moon Landing
watching.
just cooked him. He should have let other
Interesting.
people speak. Instead, he's stepped up, answered the question honestly, and got cooked for it.
On the count of 3, raise your hand if you want to keep
They're not
playing.
going to continue, are they?
1, 2, 3.
No one wanted to. Damn.
Majority has voted not to keep playing because they're confident that the mole
Wow.
voted out.
From that face, I think it might be. I can't remember his name.
If the box turns green, you 4 have correctly guessed the mole out and will split the cash prize.
He looks
I
way
would be
too
pretty
happy.
confident. Maybe I'm slightly suspicious of her. She hasn't done a lot of speaking, but I think the 3 that they voted out, I think are the 3 most likely to be flat earthers.
If the box turns red, the mole is still among the 4 of you, and they have won the cash prize to themselves. Are you 4 ready? 1,
It's him, innit?
2, 3.
Oh no, never mind.
Hey.
All right, now who is it?
all
Nice.
believing in around Earth.
you doubted me, but
You doubted me, that's so
On the
funny.
count of 3, and then the mole, they step
Oh,
forward.
I'm so interested to see who this is.
1, 2,
I kind of hope it's not George.
3.
I fucking knew
It
it.
was him.
I knew it.
Wacky.
Wait, what do you say?
It was
I
him.
know it's wacky.
I know it's wacky.
I know it's wacky.
I actually am.
Very surprised. I had all my money was on George, so I was like, wait, whoa, the school teacher is the flat earther?
I mean,
I'm
the
not
background kind of makes
surprised.
sense going from teacher, but his job, like he said, the geomapping thing, he must just map small enough areas so that the curvature of the Earth is relatively insignificant, or other members of his team deal with that. But yeah, damn, it was the body
just don't give him that
language
piece
earlier on, the
of
way he
work.
was answering things and saying things. That's probably why he leapt to insulting flat earthers to begin with. It's quite an easy like, oh, this is what everyone thinks of us, but you know, I'm the one really laughing because you guys are all wrong.
You were a teacher at one point, so for me, I was like, oh, well, I mean, he's a teacher, so he, you know, he wouldn't believe such a crazy idea. And here I am, wrong.
You had a pretty good shtick with the software engineer thing, but I can't say any more than vibe. I had a vibe. It was you.
Vibe, fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I did as well.
It was with my team of engineers, which is interesting. It's surprising how much you don't think about certain things until you do.
It is funny that he said vibe and that a lot of people like had this stereotypical idea of what a flat earther was, and it did end up being the white guy who's a theist. So yeah,
With a
Tatum
t-shirt.
saying that they don't usually go for the stereotypical person didn't apply this time.
My fiance, she's been on this before.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Which episode?
The globe Earth was flat.
No
Nice.
way.
I didn't know if it was that one, but
I've wanted to do a reaction video to that for ages. Oh, and this is the catalyst I needed. I'm definitely looking at that. That's so funny. He's literally engaged to another flat earther, of course. Well, if you want to make sure you don't miss that, please do make sure you're subscribed so you can catch it.
We're all
How
taught certain things.
interesting,
We
man.
are, whether we admit it or not, we're indoctrinated with beliefs, with certain things, whether it's religion, whether it's government, whether it's what have you. You know, we're taught a lot more what to think instead of how to think.
If you don't mind me asking, do you believe truth is subjective or objective?
I definitely believe in an objective truth.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's a lot of ridicule, there's a lot of hate when people believe in something different, and I find it fascinating, really. I don't, it doesn't really bother me. There's trolls out there, or as Taylor Swift would say, the haters will hate. It's fine.
Sure.
Oh, he's a Swiftie. He's got a redeeming quality at last. That's so funny. But that was exactly what I was talking about. The whole like, you're taught what to think, not how to think. You're taught how to think at the university level. We heard about his job. I wonder what his educational background is. I actually kind of wish we had more time spent with him to figure
I'd
out
love
why
to know
exactly he's a
more.
flat earther. Like, it kind of sucks that we don't get
I
to
guess
find
the
out
other video
why
his
he believes
wife
what he
would
does. I think it would have been so interesting. I'm actually really glad that
potentially
George wasn't the flat earther
show
as well.
more,
I
right?
really liked him. I'm going to go see if I can find some of his work on space-time curvature. That's so interesting. But yeah, evidently he's just a science enjoyer with a very scientific mind. I'm sure if he had a bit more time, he would have made it abundantly clear. Well, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. Sorry for all the tangents. I'm
I
evidently a
fucking
massive
loved
science
that.
nerd
That was
myself.
great.
So like George, I can't help it. But yeah, if you enjoyed today's video and you want to catch the flat earthers versus scientists debate reaction, please do subscribe down below so you don't miss it. And of course, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye. But I fucking loved that. That was great. You guys suggested that video a hell of a lot, and I now can see why. But it's very, very interesting to... I mean, I knew Arthur was very knowledgeable in a lot of different topics, right? It's very obvious by the way he speaks and just the videos that I've seen with him. But yeah, I loved watching that video. That was so much fun. I hope you guys did as well. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry that it's so long, but obviously with it being a more commentary style video, it's going to take more commentary, right? Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do make sure you leave a like down below, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.